Hi everyone! Today we're going to take a look at something I've been working on for quite a long time, and it turned out amazing and everyone loves it, so I was thinking, yeah, it's time to talk about it. It's the 40k Powersword. So the printing, let's just skip through that. And then there's the part of assembling it, and a lot of epoxy later, the sword was finished. First thing after assembling it is sanding it down, and I was sanding it down. And somewhere in the middle I got this stupid idea to make it sharp, which I did, and it was sharp. And it still kind of is, but at the end, or towards the end, I kind of left that part out. Even though I was very excited, it can cut like through plastic and stuff like that. The problem is I don't want to make mess. Right, so the next step after I made it unnecessarily sharp, I went out and put the first coat of paint. And it honestly looked so good, like the paint just got there, the first layer, second layer, I bought the ultramarine blue for it, so there would be like this effect of dark blue and then the light things on top of it, and everything seemed just so perfect, so easy, nothing happened, and I was ready to paint it, so I made the first like sketch of the lightnings, and it was like, yes, this is it, it's easy, it works, nothing's gonna happen. I put the sword like this way so it could dry from one side because I was putting the lightnings there, and it fell and it snapped and it became two pieces. And since I used the links in between to hold it in place, those were actually from resin. Still don't know why I did that. It snapped completely, so I need to drill new holes, put the new pins in, and I was kind of hoping it will be working this time, and it's like I'm not gonna break it because I broke it once before already, but it wasn't painted or anything, so I just glued it together and we didn't talk about it. Like, let's not talk about it. So that was the second time it split, right? And I had to do all the work now. And the funny thing was, I started to sanding it and I dropped the sword again. Like, that's my main issue with these props. I tend to drop them all the time. And I did it again. And it snapped again. So right here, that was the first crack, I think, and then it was the second one somewhere around here where the parts are. So yeah, that wasn't good, and I was so angry because it was already coated and painted, and I just felt like, this was a mistake and I don't know how to fix it. And so, because there's still, if you look close at the blade, there are still like teeniest bits of epoxy glue, and I'm not going to sand it off because the moment I do, I'm afraid the blade is going to snap again. So I left it there, and to like trick everyone into thinking the sword is actually better, I thought of making LEDs, and that wasn't part of the project at all. Like, it was supposed to be a sword, I was supposed to paint it and make the lightning effect with paint, and I didn't. I drilled a hole or multiple holes through the blade because that somehow seemed smarter. So after hours of sanding this whole thing down to make it at least a bit smoother and putting there the magic dust, right? Magic dust. So I just, put magic dust into the little crevices and I put glue over it and I had to sand it down. It made new little holes, so more magic dust, more sanding, and it was still like in this stupid circle that I just need to stop. And that's where the LEDs came in, so I just decided to make it a whole lot different and put the lights in there. No space for the wires. And so I was thinking, you know, there's one link already, it's visible, or one line already visible, I'm just gonna add another. And I did. So again, if you look closer, there actually isn't just one, there are two lines, and those are the wires. And after a while it can be hidden under these decorations, so I just did that. I made it pretty much the obvious, not so obvious wiring, and it actually turned out good, so yeah, that was a good idea, probably. No one complained about it yet, so it was a good idea. And then when you look at it again really close, you can like see all of this wiring, which we covered in gold paint, so it's actually, you know, Warhammer at least a bit thematic. I think they would just use golden wires actually, at least for the Astartes, because, you know, who else is going to get the gold if it's not the Emperor and Astartes. However, that this part, like, this is still kind of pissing me off because it's visible, and if I knew from the start there will be LEDs on this project, we would make holes for the wires before and then just, you know, add the wires, and it wouldn't be actually visible. But it is, so that's like a little mistake, but it still looks good, so let's not complain about it too much, okay? You don't know, you don't see, on the photos it's not visible, I mean on the Rogue Trader photos it's not visible, so let's not complain about it, okay? Perfect. And so the seals help a lot. Okay, also, like, you can still see the wire, but there's the seal, so focus on the seal, okay? It's perfect. I also added all of these little skulls, so distraction, perfect. Right, speaking of, another fun thing about the light is, like, I've mentioned it a couple of times on the Instagram, it's not like I don't know electronics, it's also not like the partner in crime I have for this doesn't know what he's doing. It's just we fried the LEDs on the first turn on. Because, you know, people usually complain about things from China and, like, you know, everything you order is pretty much shit and you shouldn't do it, like, ever. And we decided for this project we're not going to order it from China because we were kind of in a hurry. It takes like 2 to 3 weeks to arrive from China and I wanted to have it done, so we went to the local Czech shop, and that was a mistake because somebody there decided that when you have a power pack of batteries and you have the actual batteries, it would be really funny to switch the colors. So you start on the batteries and plus is on the red wire and minus is on the black wire, and there's no problem with that, like, that's standard. And then you connected it to the power pack that actually came with it so you can power something up, and somebody there switched the colors, and, like, I don't know, that never happened before. And we weren't really thinking about it because normally you go red for plus and you follow that coloring throughout the whole fucking thing. And somebody just decided on the manufacturer that let's fuck it up for everyone. And we didn't check that. So that's a lesson for you, I guess. If you happen to do some project, like, I don't know, don't trust the store and, like, check everything. So that was a little setback. We need to adjust some things, check the board. There's actually a little printed board inside of this box under the sword, and we didn't use ESP for this or Arduino or something. It's just resistors and capacitors. So yeah, we were kind of worried it's not going to work at all, but it does. So fixed that. Props to Mark. He did a really good job on that, and yeah, he made it work. So the sword is still functional. Okay. Right. And so after some soldering that I did attempt it to film, but it's like, you know, it's really hard to film something when you have something this big, like it barely fits the screen now. So filming like when you have it this way and you're trying to solder something in there, it actually isn't really working. So I just put some LEDs there that I was working on that we reworked later. So on the top, like right here, there was supposed to be 3 LEDs, but there's only one, and it's bright as fuck anyway. Like you can probably tell if there's 1, 2 or a million. So that's it. And then it was finally time to paint it, like the actual paint. The only thing that was left, or like from the start that stayed the same, was the handle, and I really like the dark red. I was thinking like maybe I should wrap it in leather or something, but I don't think it will actually look good because it's all 3D printed and it has the aesthetics of being 3D printed, and I actually love it. So I left it there, and I just kept on adding gold and gold and gold, because like none of these skulls or the Aquila or the Rogue Trader symbol or anything, it wasn't there. And as I was printing these little details for the cosplay, I was thinking like, you know, maybe the sword would look better. The only thing that was there was this big skull, and it was pretty, but not pretty enough, I guess. It was like alone, abandoned, so I added more, and it's now 3 skulls looking at me, and there are 3 skulls looking at anyone I point the sword towards. Right. And after that, we were finally done. Like once the electronics was in place and it was all working, it was just easy, you know. Some paint, I was kind of scared to paint the lightnings at first. I was like, I'm not really good at miniatures. Like the last Warhammer one I had was somewhere in high school, and I have only like a couple, and then I just throw them away pretty much because it felt like, yeah, this hobby isn't for me, like I'm not good at it. I just gave up. And years later we bought a resin printer and I got back to it, and now I actually love it, making minis and, you know, making these awesome swords. I think it turned out well. Thank you for watching. Also, all of this, I was talking about it already, but all of this turned out to be just a little test piece before we move on to the chainsword. And the chainsword is huge. I'm just looking at it lying on the ground, and it's like, I can't wait. It's going to be super heavy, so yay for me, because I'm actually small. A lot of people also kind of asks me how small I am. I'm only 1.64 m, so I have no idea what it is in American things, but I'm not that tall. And the sword, like right now the chain sword is, I think, like 1.20 m or something, so it's kind of big, but with the armor and everything it's going to look good for the planned Sister of Battle that I will be posting updates here later, hopefully, because I've also never done this before, and it could be fun, it could not, who knows. Let's just try it and see. So, you know, enjoy the sword, there should be some final like looks at it. I think even without all the effects and being like on camera with the lights, it looks so good. And it's not like the classic power sword you see on a mini, I know. But also I let people decide, and you pick more blue, less like this steely color, or like the metallic color. And I think it's good to follow people's advices at least sometimes, because I usually don't and then it ends up in disaster. But yeah, that's probably all from me. Enjoy the sword and bye!